How's it going, everybody? In this video we're going to take a look at summarization and stub routing. So two different ways that you can basically manipulate how EIGRP is going to forward traffic to a particular destination, what exactly EIGRP is going to receive, and how you can prevent how you can manipulate the query scope of EIGRP. Now, with summarization, it's an interface level command like it is with RIP. Nice thing about it is the summary address comes out with an AD of 5. So the administrative distance of 5 gives it the ability to take precedence over most other routes. But if you have a floating static or another static route that's got a better AD, it will take precedence over this one. Now the administrative distance metric is used to advertise a summary without installing it in the routing table. Basically, what ends up happening here is it's an interface level command anywhere throughout the topology, but does not have to be but it does not have the limitation of being unable to summarize beyond the classful boundary. So, like with RIP, when you summarize, you can't summarize beyond the classful boundary. Where with EIGRP, you can. You can summarize down to a to a default route if you'd like to. Now, when the summary is configured, all the subnets of the summary are suppressed. Or sorry, I should say actually, all the subnets that make up the summary are suppressed from being advertised out the link. So, from a design perspective, this feature can be used to both reduce the size of the routing table and limit the scope of EIGRP's query messages. Now, summarization with default routes. That's the first one was just if you want to configure a summary route and not do anything advanced with it. Summarization with the default route, you can also use it to originate a default route in EIGRP. The disadvantage, however, is that all subnets previously advertised out interface will be suppressed because all IPv4 subnets are aggregated to a /0. So basically, you're going to be advertising just a default route out to all your neighbors that are going to be receiving it. Summarization with leak maps, you can do a summary, so say for instance a /22 or /20 or something like that. You can advertise that in addition to a longer match. The longer match is going to give you the ability to manipulate traffic based off of longest match routing. So what that means is the /22 or /20 or whatever range you're going to use can be forwarding out a certain way, and then you can actually send the leak map out a different direction, and you could do longest match routing that way. Or you might have a more specific route that you need to be advertising. But the most common setup with that is to use a more specific route to affect the path selection. Leak maps allow you to advertise a single subnet in a summary, so the summary and a more specific route get advertised. So you would create a prefix list and name it, and specify the subnet and the prefix length. And then you would create a route map that matches the subnet referenced in the prefix list, and then apply the leak map, which calls the route map, which calls the prefix list, at the end of the summary route with the leak map on the interface that you want to engineer the traffic. So it goes down. The leak map will allow traffic engineer goes down. The leak map will allow for more specific routes while still maintaining the summary. So I'm not going to demonstrate that particular one, because that's a little outside of our scope, but it's still a possibility. So you could take like a /24. At least I'm not going to demonstrate it, at least in our topology, with going left over right for two different routes, so longest match routing. Now, when you get into advertise a summary of a default. So and here's the config: IP summary address, EIGRP. The AS number, the actual summary, and then leak map name, and that's the route map name. So that's pretty straightforward. You can do a floating summary. When summaries are created with OSPF, EIGRP, and BGP, the router automatically installs a route to null 0 to match the summary. And this is used to prevent the router from forwarding traffic to a destination inside the summary that it does not have a longer match to. The idea behind this is to prevent routing to a non-existent destination. So if the longest match is the summary, you're going to drop the traffic. if the longest match is not the summary, then it's going to forward it. So if it's got a /24 or something else, so the summary is a /20, and that's the longest match for a particular route, it will actually drop the traffic. So that helps prevent loops and things like that from occurring. So you can actually the EIGRP summary itself is set to an AD of 5, but you can affect this. You can actually if you need to get routing somewhere and the summary is inhibiting you with a null 0, you can actually create a static route and it will do that for you. Let's see here. So what you can actually do is you can go, if you want to remove the null route, you can. And so routes with administrative distance of 255 are not advertised to be installed, or are not candidates to be installed in the routing table. So if you were to, by poisoning the route to the null route with the 255, then you could do that. And then it would advertise. It would actually remove the null route from being advertised. So I wouldn't recommend doing that because of the fact that you can get into a you can get into issues with that. And in previous code in 15.x, the distance was configured along with the interface level summary. And newer code, it is globally configured at the process level using the summary metric command. And I'll show you what that looks like. Let's see here. It's been a little while since I've read that. I actually had to dig into that for just a second. So, but yeah, that's the general idea when it comes to a poison floating summarization. Just be aware of that. And then we have stub routing. The stub routing is actually a way for you to tell a router not to receive queries. So reduces the size of the query domain. So stub routers do not receive query messages because stub routers aren't used for transit normally. So it's good for DMVPN spokes. So process level EIGRP stub, and it'll what type of prefixes are advertised. So by default, connected routes and summary routes are actually advertised out. So in case you need to get traffic out there, you could get it to go that direction if you need to. But most of the time, when you set up the EIGRP stub, it does that by default. So there are 3 main benefits to stub routing. It improves network stability. So stub routers are not queried by neighbors going active on routers. Stub routers reply to query with an inaccessible message. Stub routers prevent the stub from becoming a transit router. So reduces resource utilization. No need for a stub router to process query messages. Very limited amount of routes are sent from the stub upstream. And simplifies stub router config. So stub configuration automates the process you would normally have to do manually with route filtering. So there's a few different capabilities that are come into play with this. So you've got on the stub. So EIGRP stub by default connected to summary routes. Connected just advertises connected routes, no summaries. Redistribution advertises routes redistributed to this router from an outside source. Summary is summary or summarized routes. Static is static routes. Receive only means it will receive routes. Will only receive routes that are advertised, but won't advertise any routes up. And leak map means you can advertise routes that exist behind the stub. So if you have if you have routes behind it that you need to get advertised, you can do that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this from our topology here, and what I'm going to do is on router 9 down to 18 and 19, I'm going to advertise a shorter match for a bunch of routes up here. So what I'm going to do is on our router here on 9, I'm going to I'm going to exit out of here and type in AF interface serial 2/0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let me go to 18 real quick and do a show IP route. I'm going to take all the 255 routes that are being advertised. So 255 slash, I'm going to advertise a slash 20 with that one on from 9. So we'll go to 9, on 9. Oop, how did I keep doing that? Aggravates me. So we're going to type in summary address, question mark, and then what's the network length? So we're going to type in 10.255.0.0, and we're going to say slash 20 and question mark, and then we can add the lead map in there at the end if we want to. So I'm going to hit enter. That's actually going to re-associate, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to 18, hit the up arrow, and now we're only getting in a slash 20 for those two routes. So now we should be able to trace route to 10.255.7.7. We can still get to it, it's just the fact that they're being summarized. Now, if we were to do lose a route and something was to happen, same thing is going to be happening on router 19, show IP route. We're going to be seeing these guys right here. So we see the slash 20 coming in. Now, if we had a bunch of other routes, it would be aggregated up too. So, for instance, I have all these routes on 19. So if we go to 9, you can do it bidirectionally too. We type in do show IP route. We're receiving a bunch of routes in from 1019. So I could do the same thing on 19 outbound. On 19, I can go to config t interface serial 1/0. Type in IP summary address EIGRP 789, and do. I'm going to type in for the 10.19.0.0 slash. What am I advertising up? Slash 24. I'm going to advertise a slash 21. Let's get a resync. Just from router 9, we're going to go back to router 9. Click on router 9 and type in do show IP route. So now we're advertising we are receiving, might not have taken effect yet. Should be receiving it slash 21. Did I advertise that right? Jeez. Wish it would stop doing that. 1019. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go to 7 and do show IP route. And I don't know why they're coming in as slash 24. That's weird. But if you go on to 9, gotta stop doing that. I think it's because of the fact that I pull it out. So 9, do show IP route. Actually, if you look right here, see the null route? If the longest match is the route, then you drop it. So if it's going to a more specific route, like we do a trace to, we're advertising at outbound. So if we go to, let's go to, actually, you know what? Let me take a look at do show IP route. And, okay, we are receiving it. Why is it not? Why are we not advertising anything out? I don't see the null route here. That's weird that it's not doing it. But anyway, what you can do here on these guys is you can type in router EIGRP 789, you type in EIGRP Stub, and you have all these other options. You have connected and summary. Connected and summary are the defaults. So we're just going to enter. We're going to go over to 18 and do the same thing. And as you can see, it definitely keep kicking it out, and it's aggravating me. Router EIGRP 789, EIGRP Stub. Now if we go to 9 and we do a show IP EIGRP neighbor detail for, I think we type in the neighbor address. We hit the enter. Let's see here. Does it? It's actually. Oh, there it goes. There we are. So what it's telling us now, if you look right here, it says stub peer. That's where I didn't give it enough time to sync up. So basically I told it I'm going to 19 and 18 are both advertising as stub routers, so stub peer advertising connected summary routes. Same thing with 18, but if you notice here on 7 and 8, they're not doing that. So now if we go to type in show IP route, they're still going to show us all of their connected routes. But the thing is if we do a bounce, so we'll go to 19 real quick, and we do a debug EIGRP packets query. Is query in there? Query and reply. We're going to go and up to here on 7, and we're going to type in interface loopback 0. We're going to shut it down. If we go to 19, we shouldn't receive any updates, or we shouldn't receive any queries. Now if we go to global config, we type in router EIGRP 789. Type in, I just go back to here and no EIGRP stub. So now if we go to 7, let's go to 8 actually, and actually let's make sure we're receiving. Do show IP route. We should have the you know why? Because we had that summary come in. So that summary is actually filtering it, so we're not going to get that. So let's go back to 9. Let's pull that summary route out. And we're going to go to 9, router EIGRP CCNP, address family IPv4, autonomous system 789. And we're going to type in AF interface serial 2/0, no summary address, 10.255.0.0/16. So what we're going to do now is that's going to resync it. We have to give it a second to resync. So once it resyncs, do show IP route. Okay, we're not filtering that route anymore. Or actually, yes, we are. Let's do show run pipe section EIGRP. Do I have the right length in there? I think I need to do /20. Yeah, /20. So no this. That'll resync it. There we go. So then we have that. Then we go to 19 again. Type in do show IP route. We are receiving those routes in now, because we're not receiving the summary anymore. But we notice 7's not there, so we type in, I'm going to go to 7, if I can stop clicking on it, and I'm going to type in no shut, and I go to 19, we should receive, or actually we won't receive any information. We're going to go to router 8 though, because we can type in do ping 10.255.8.8. I can reach it. We go to router 8. I'm going to type in interface loopback 0 and type in shut. If we go to 9 or 19, we should receive a query. And the query is asking us if we know about router 8's loopback. And I don't see where it's at least it just says that it's, there's a queuing reply, so it did see it come in. So now if we go to EIGRP stub, we won't get that anymore. So that bounce, so it's going to bounce our neighbor relationship and bring us back up. And on 18, should get a bigger grasp on my mouse here. It's starting to aggravate me. Okay, so we're back up. And now if we do that again, on 8, we type in no shut, we go to 7. Obviously it's not going to happen because of the fact that, we go to 19, we click on 19 and we type in do show IP route. We're going to receive that 9, they're there. So that's how stub routing works. So that's summarization and stub routing. It's actually really, really easy to do, not very complicated at all. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.